Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 11, the season finale of season 2 of Behind the Seams, presented by Standard Issue Tees. As you can see, Jared Lee is not here. He's downstairs handling production, sending orders out. Same thing that he's always doing every day. But for this episode, we've carved out an amazing guest. Carved as in deli meat, sliced. Did he...
See what you did there?
An old friend of mine. I was thinking back. I met this gentleman in New York City, downtown, at a big, cool-ass office on Broadway, which at the time was the...
Frank 151.
Frank 151. 151 or 151?
Well, you got to introduce me. You got to say who I am.
I did. I fucked up.
Say it, go ahead. It's good.
None other than the Paulie James, a.k.a. Uncle Paulie. I want to get to all of that. For now, we'll start with Paulie.
No pressure on the season finale, though. You know?
Nah.
Finishing big.
We'll start with Paulie James, and then we'll get into Uncle Paulie.
Okay.
So, 2012, that's when you and I met.
Mm-hmm.
Born and raised?
Born and raised in Queens.
New York.
Yeah. Born and raised in Queens till I was 20. Then moved to Manhattan, Brooklyn, back to Manhattan, lived outside of Queens for the majority of my 20s. And then, I was downtown.
That's what I was tripping when I was thinking about this episode. I was like, we met at that Frank office, but obviously our worlds are connected in so many different ways. Obviously the skateboarding, streetwear, the nightlife, all of it, you know, how intermingled all of that was. And we'd come up to New York a lot back in the day. And I was like, how the fuck did we never meet before?
Well, if you went to a party, I was probably there.
For sure.
I
was always
20,
a tourist back
New York,
then, so.
I did a lot of parties, promoted a lot of parties, worked at a lot of restaurants, bars and shit. So I was just in the mix.
What years did you get into that?
When I was 17, I worked at a comedy club in Midtown. My mother ran it, and I was bar backing when I was 18 years old.
Get out of here.
Like, just, grabbing beer, stocking the fridges, doing all that shit, and worked my way up to being a bartender at the comedy club. I worked at the comedy club for like 10 years. That was always like my go-to. Even if I was doing something else, I worked at the comedy clubs that my mother worked at as a bartender or, assistant manager or whatever it was. So I was just like in the hospitality.
Was your mom always in the comedy community in New York?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. She
Comedian herself?
She had a club back in the day in Queens till like the 90s. She was a manager. She ran a club. She had a club in Queens with my grandfather. That was a pretty well-known club. A lot of Long Island comics would come, like Ray Romano, Kevin James, and then you'd have like the Damon Wayans and the Jim Carreys and all those comedians come and do week at Andrew Dice Clay.
Get out of here.
But the comedy boom crashed. It was like in the 90s when everybody got sitcoms, and then you could go on TV and watch Evening at the Improv or, Showtime or HBO. They had all those so it was like people were like, yo, why would we go to a comedy show and pay for fucking, even though it was still a thing, they were like, yo, there's so much, it's so over, what do you say? It was just so oversaturated. So the club kind of was struggling, and then she closed it, and then she stopped doing that, and then she ended up working for other clubs.
Gotcha.
In Manhattan.
That's the comedy circuit is like a pretty crazy thing. I have friends here that are writers and some aspiring comedians, and going to kick it with them. Like, comedians are crazy.
Dude, it's a grind. Yeah, man. I'm still friends with a lot of the guys that I started with, like, not if I started with, but like I was bartending and they were just starting out, like they're popping now.
Yeah.
Whether it be like the Giannis Papases or whoever, we got podcasts. So I seen their grind, and it was just like,
they're in there every
night.
Night.
Like, oh, you ever want to be a comedian? And I'm like, I seen like the back end of that fucking hustle. And I give those guys like running from, 5 different clubs in one night, making 20, not even getting paid. Some of these guys are making like $10. Some of these guys are holding the door open, for the club, like being like an intern to get stage time, like at the end of the night. So it was just like a grind that I could have probably finagled it being my mom and who I knew, but I was just like, it's not for me.
Man. I mean, I'm sure you saw some wild shit too, especially at that age too. It's probably like,
Yo, dude, it was crazy.
What's going on here
So
right
many,
now?
My mother, who she was friends with, and
Yeah.
Bill Hicks and John Stewart, and you name them. Like my mother was like, David Tell, who I still talk to sometimes, and just like whoever. It was just a crazy, Colin Quinn. So it was crazy, and it was great to be, like I don't think, I like to think that I get some of my, chops.
Yeah.
From being around these guys and shooting the shit and busting balls, because comedians are like ruthless to each other. So I'd be there like, holding court with them. And so I think that definitely helped me, in the schoolyard when
that's cool.
When we were fucking ripping on each other. I always had this little snap or two, but it was fun. Yeah, it was cool. But that was always like my backdrop job.
How many years did you do that for?
Man, I think I did it for like 10. I mean, I was thinking yesterday, like rewatching the movie, I'm like, maybe like 8 to 10 years I worked in the clubs, but I was always like, I would try to go to, I didn't try. I went to school. I did other things during the day, whatever. I had other jobs, but it was always like my, bartending was just like fucking cash money. It was like when I was in my early 20s, that's what's better than that,
Yeah.
I got to get a new pair of Jordans.
And the New York at that time period is crazy, but
and it worked for my lifestyle because I was out.
Yeah.
So when I get out of work, the club closes at 1:00. The club is just going off, and I get to go see the boys or whatever. And we're out in bars and downtown. So
So naturally, all those things, the skaters, the streetwear world, all the things that we grew up loving, you're automatically in the mix with amongst all the things and people and whatnot, huh?
Yeah, just going to being in New York, going to the different shops, seeing everybody out, it was just, it's a big city, but it's pretty small.
Queens too. I never realized 2019 was the first time I ever went and spent time in Queens, and being there, you realize it's its own world, man. I kind of felt robbed. I was like, damn, all these years living in Philly, living on the East Coast, I never spent time over here. And I'm like, you have all these restaurants from, so many different ethnicities. They're all amazing.
It's the biggest melting pot. Like I go to places like Chicago and how Chicago's so segregated. I'm like, dude, it was like a melting pot. It was the most, they say it's the most diverse place in the world on paper.
Yeah.
You hop on the 7 train, you go through literally every fucking ethnicity, every stop, Colombian, Dominican, Trinidad. It's like every single stop on the train line is a different country. It's wide until to this day. I mean, you go to 74th and Roosevelt, you get, roti, you get this, you get that, you get, it's crazy with the
the Greek pizza shops.
It's the Greek diners, the pizza. It's just, it's wild. And it was a great place to grow up, it's great.
Greek diners are so good.
I mean, there's no other. If your diner ain't Greek, you ain't you ain't a diner, bro.
That's a trip. Yeah, that's too funny. We would go before that specific trip in 2019. We would always go take trips to Corona Park, where the Globe is.
Yeah. Flushing Meadow. That's my backyard. That's where I grew up in Flushing.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So I grew up. I didn't grow up far from the stadium. They call that area the wastelands, by City Field. I grew up Northern Boulevard, further up. Not there. It's like a junkyard, but further up on Northern Boulevard. That's where I grew up.
We'd always go skate there. And
the Globe is a legendary spot.
It's incredible.
Rodney Torres and all those.
Yeah, Rodney's the man. Rodney, shine like gold, Rodney.
Yeah.
Gio Moya.
Yeah.
Got a lot of great skaters from
all those guys. Akira,
Akira,
all those guys. Jamie Story. That was the spot.
That's so funny, man. Yeah, I love those. I love that spot. I love those guys. And then, so the ballpark city before
Shea.
It was Shea. Chipper Jones named his son Shea.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
He was our fucking enemy.
I bet. Yeah. I was gonna wear a New York Giants hat, which is basically a Mets logo, which I get killed for people like, why you always wear that hat? It's a Mets hat. And I'm like, the New York Giants hat, actually. Because back in the day, I'd go to the old Mitchell & Ness store, and they would have all the Cooperstown's hats. But I get
I'm Mets and Jets.
You Mets and Jets, huh?
A lot of heartache and sorrow, you know? It makes you, builds character.
It does, yeah. I get it, yeah.
In the 90s, growing up in New York, as a Met fan, when the Yankees were they're listen, I love the Yankees.
Yeah.
Derek, what's not to love?
Yeah.
Derek Jeter, that whole But it was like, you going to the parade? I'm like, nah.
No
you going to the parade this year? Nah.
But in the mid 80s, you got a parade, right?
Yeah, but I was 3.
Oh, yeah. Damn, yeah.
My parents were there. My parents were at the games. Yeah.
Jets.
My mom actually caught a ball at one of the playoff games.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Damn.
Got it signed by the whole. My mother used to have the club at the time, and they used to go out, and the Mets used to hang out in the. The Mets were party animals, so they would be. Animals, and my parents weren't too much. My parents were pretty young, so they were like still out.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got stories about. My dad and mom got stories about hanging out with the Mets, like all that, because they used to hang out in Queens.
Yeah.
But if they weren't in Manhattan, at China Club or all these other spots, they were like by the stadium, so they were like a legendary.
When did that new park next to the Globe get built?
I'll probably say 7 years ago, but I'll probably be wrong.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty new then.
Yeah, it's new.
All right.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I grew up in Shea.
Okay, gotcha. Damn. So Queens, bounced back into the city.
I spent so much time in Manhattan. I was like, let me just, so.
Eventually you moved downtown?
Yeah, because I ended up getting jobs at other places. I was working in the restaurant industry. I was working back of house. I was working front of house. It was just more convenient. I was making a few dollars. You have to have 5 jobs in New York.
Yeah.
To survive.
Yeah.
The rents are fucking.
So this makes sense. I mean, I'll jump around a little bit, but obviously with your business now, the food and beverage and the hospitality and management,
it was always there.
Up in it, huh?
Yeah, it was always there. Like I knew how to talk to customers and doing, whatever. Yeah. Like it was just a thing, bartending, you're schmoozing with whoever. You got it. I was bartending up in 53rd Street in Midtown. It's like the theater district, and it was like it was like so touristy. So I had to talk to a dude from London, a dude from Paris, a dude from Australia. So I was just it was kind of like a show almost. You kind of earn your chops just being able to talk to whoever, and then you get disgruntled customers, obviously, and you got to put out fires. So I kind of learned from my mom. She was she was like a boss. So it was
That's cool.
It kind of definitely molded me for what was to come.
Yeah. That you didn't even know was
I had no idea.
When of all of these places, when you look back at the era and the war stories in that scene in New York, was there one specific party or location that stands out that was like the real pinnacle of it all, or? I mean, was the most special? I mean, probably pre-bottle service was New York. Right. When I was in my early 20s. Any specific location or establishment? There were so many. I don't want to say anything. Sound corny. One of my boys in the real. What? You forgot this spot? Okay, gotcha. I don't. Yeah, I'll get in the group text. I'll be getting. But yeah, there were so many. Before cell phones, so it didn't matter what the fuck you were doing, and God, it was just you be in the you be there with this person and that person. I was with whoever, the New York Knicks, this guy, it was just it was crazy. Damn, pre-bottle service. Yeah, that was kind of the worst thing that ever happened to Nightlife. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Right. In Philly, when they first implemented bottle service, they would put lockers in these bars. And it's you could buy your bottle and keep it in there, and they still let us in. Yeah, they let us in 5 guys with shorts. We knew the doorman. We knew this guy. Even when it was crazy. Some of these guys are still doing the door. I just went back and I seen some dudes that I was like, oh shit, he's still there. I still got it. He pulled it over. I haven't been here in 10 years. He's letting me in the club. That's super funny. But it was just fun. It was fun. It was pre-cell phone. Yeah. We have no pictures. No, thank God. Thank God. Yeah, thank God. Yeah. Well, there's some dudes with some pictures out there, but yeah. But just to catch to have a picture of you and some friends that you knew meant a lot to you, and maybe you remember that night, maybe you don't, but it would be nice. Yeah, I caught the tail end of the tunnel. I caught the tail end of the limelight. I caught the end of those. I'm not old, but I'm not young. Yeah. So when I was, I caught the end of it. When I was 19, I was going to Limelight, the tunnel. Yeah. So I caught that vibe before, and then they kind of I think they closed eventually. The tunnel was sick, huh? Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. It was crazy. I just see it through the lens of I was 19 and rappers 18 and it was nuts. That's cool. And that's when, it was on in New York. Man, that's sick. Yeah. So we meet Stephen Malbonzo and Frank 150, 151 or 151. I never 151. Okay. 151. Right. Yeah, that's the rum. That office was sick. The office was sick on Broadway, yeah. So you and Stephen have been friends for a minute.
I met Steve. Well, I was running around with Bronson before that.
That far back?
Yeah,
No
I was running
way,
around
damn.
with Bronson in the beginning when he was rapping. When he just started rapping, kind of helped. Was
And you guys knew each other from Queens?
yeah, high school.
Oh, good
Yeah,
at
we
it.
knew each other in high school. He lived in Casino. I lived on the other side of Flushing. We ended up kind of reconnecting. And he was like getting this thing popping, like he dropped one video on like YouTube, and I kind of was like, I was genuinely a fan.
Yeah.
And me and him like would hang out all the time, and it was, whatever. And I was like, you should, I'm like, I kind of put the battery in his back, like, yo, he had the battery in his back already, but I was
encouraging.
I was like, dude, let's fucking go. Like,
yeah.
I'm downtown all the time. I'm at these shows with like the A$AP Rockies, the Joey Bettas. That's that time.
Yeah.
It was like New York was kind of like Flatbush Zone. It was like
beginning of the blog era.
Beginning of the blog era.
Not right.
Not right.
Not
Exactly.
right. Yeah,
Hoff on Smash and all that shit. I knew those guys. So I kind of was just like, had his fucking CD in the car. I was playing it for like Static Selector, this person, that person. And he ended up bubbling. And I worked with him for a while. We toured. I tour managed him. I kind of just made sure. Yeah, I basically was like made sure my man was good. Like made sure the money was there. Made sure whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Both of us were like learning the
on
whole.
the fly,
selling merch. It was just off. Daily. We went to school.
Yeah.
And then the thing is when he gets off. When he's off tour, that means I'm out of work.
Yeah.
I don't get paid for not being on tour. So I ended up, being out, did a bunch of parties in New York. And then me and Steve had connected, and Steve was like, I had some good ideas or whatever. And he ended up hiring me.
I do remember running into Steve, because Steve and his brother used to do parties back in the day. Right? I do remember running into like
Steve
going to their parties like way back when.
Chop Shop, they had the New Eras.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. And Mike's still killing it. And then Steve kind of just hired me to help him like kind of project manage the books. And this was like right when the book, I don't know if anybody remembers Frank 151, but it was when the books got bigger.
Ty, can you hand me that little book that's up there on that middle shelf?
And I did like books with like Diamond and A$AP Rocky and Chief Keef and whatever, did events, did merch and all that shit. Kind of like, I learned a lot from Steve.
What year did they get? So you did this one.
I did that one. If you open up the book, you can see my name in it.
Damn, yeah. So,
Watch.
I mean, these books
see.
are like, man, they're such an important piece of.
Yeah, this was crazy because I'm sorry to cut you off, but like I got to like go golf with Eric Costin. To interview him for this.
Yeah.
Like, so I went to like Chelsea Piers and we went like,
Yeah.
Costin was into golf. So I was like, let's go to Chelsea Piers. And he ended up hitting some balls and I kind of interviewed him. Look.
Frank, I mean, that was such
publishing manager.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Uncle Paulie.
These
crazy.
books
I haven't seen that thing in so long.
No, this one is, let me show
And I
you.
knew Nick from doing clubs in New York. I knew Chad.
Yeah.
Chad would be upset if I didn't name his name. Jerron. They used to come to New York and they'd be like, where are we going tonight? And I'd be like, yo, you're going to this club, this club.
Because Currency had these were our first JSP sweats in 2012.
Yeah. And I had my homegirl shoot this.
Yeah.
She was actually from New Orleans.
Someone from the magazine sent me the digital pictures of it. But I just don't like it's important to say how vital these books were. Like pre-Vice, nothing.
It was same time as Vice.
Was the same? Okay. Yeah. But it was like nothing was showing us like the behind the curtains to like a lot of worlds that were like pretty bugged out or trippy. Like,
they were free.
And they were free.
You go to like Sir.
Yeah.
Like you go to Russ's shop and you see it, he has them on the stack on the thing. You go to anything, he has a stack on the thing. Like, and it's just you take them and it's just like a little.
And they're printed. Like nobody makes things.
They killed
no
them
one
with those
prints.
Things. I have all of them. I grabbed like every single. Sorry, Steve. I grabbed every single book before the office is closed. So I have like every. I have like every single book in my office.
Because when things like this are coming out back then, we're not realizing years later print's gonna die and that we're not gonna have tangible things like this, man. So that's good that you grabbed them.
I had the MF Doom ones.
No way.
Like I don't know. pay for my college, my kids' college fucking fund with that shit
that's
one
sick,
day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy. It was a time.
And so that's 2012. I remember you and I, this was, who was it? Huff and G-Shock.
Yeah. Oh, the Dipset party?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
And that was cool because it was awesome for you and I to reconnect there. You know, and then fast forward, you know, that's 2015, 2016.
I moved out here because I was working for Huff. Because Huff ended up trying to hire somebody with boots on the ground in New York before they opened up the New York store. And I was friends with Chris Garcia.
Rest in peace to Chris
Garcia.
Garcia.
My guy. That was my, you know. And Chris, I was coming out here for Frank. I would link up with them. You know, it would be Chris, Tepper, Hobbs, the whole squad, like, you know, the whole clique. And I seen, I was like, oh, LA ain't so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I got homies here. I mean, you know.
I mean, at that point, everyone from New York, I feel like there was
from New York
there was
here.
I mean, fuck, the last 10 years just seems like a lot of people, East Coasters, out here, but a lot of New Yorkers.
Yeah,
you know,
a lot. Yeah, I mean, that helped me, you know, like the generation a little above me, whether it's like, you know, the Jamie Storys, the John Buscemi's, the, you know, Greg Johnsons, all those guys, the Russ, they were all living out here. You know, Hobbs was here for 20 years. You know, NA was living out here at the time, back and forth. So those were my boys. Yeah, I was like, well, if they could if I'm knucklehead, you know, if these maniacs could do it, a knucklehead from Queens could like live in LA.
What was your first apartment in LA?
Well, the first place I stayed at Hobbs' house on Normandy and Melrose, which was a fucking, you know, a real introduction to Los Angeles.
That him and NA used to live there too, right?
Yeah, and I think Berto lived downstairs. It was like a whole fucking, but that neighborhood was wild.
It was wild, huh?
And then I ended up meeting my wife. And then our first apartment, ended up moving in with her. She lived on Fountain in Crescent Heights.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. And I moved in like to an apartment that she already outgrew.
All right.
And it was, you know, we ended up moving not too long after that, but we
got way too much shit.
Like in the middle of WeHo, it was wild. But that was like my first introduction to LA. And then I ended up having like a come to God moment one day in New York. I think it was like negative 15 degrees, February. I was long distancing with wifey at the time. And I haven't seen my boys in like 2 months, bro. It was so cold. It was like brutal. And I was just like, I had like 3 jobs. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I was working for like 3 people. And I kind of was just like, I'm doing things for, I kind of had like I can't be doing this forever. Something's got to give. And she was like, come out here. And I came out here.
You guys had already been seeing each other.
Yeah.
Okay,
gotcha. Loosely. Yeah. No, we were seeing each other. Yeah. But it was nothing like we were going to get married and have kids.
Yeah.
It was just like, and then, kind of a year went on living in LA, trying to figure it out. And then, that's when me and John had the idea for the deli. Not to fast forward too fast.
No, it's all good. That's perfect timing because you got Paulie James.
Yeah.
Uncle Paulie.
Well, Uncle Paulie was always around.
Yeah.
Shout out to Freeze.
Oh, no way, damn.
Yeah, Freeze gave me the nickname.
Get out
officially.
Of
here. Yeah.
Because that was
He would just be Uncle Paulie in the club. You know, it was just like a thing. And
I always wondered, you know, where the establishment of the name of the title came from.
It was a nickname that Freeze gave me, but then Action was like, yo, if you're gonna, you know, he was like, when I was tour managing him, it would be like, Uncle Paulie's gonna come and pick up the money. Like
that's
for the
pretty
show.
Good, yeah.
So
that's
it was
actually
like,
pretty fitting
because
for that role.
Listen, if Paul is coming to pick up the money, it might be missing a few, a few dollars. But if you hear on, the email says Uncle Paulie's coming to pick it up, probably the envelope's gonna be correct.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
So and it just stuck, and it was just like a thing, and it was just and I just created.
What year do you think it was like?
2004, and probably 2010, 11. Put it 2011.
No way.
Yeah, and then it just stuck, and then it was just a nickname. We weren't going to name any of the shops that or anything before that. We had different names. And
so Buscemi is your partner. Let me tell. I'll get a little short Buscemi story real quick. When I first moved to LA, basically I come and I'm like, all right, I need to know my restaurant and my sandwich fix. You know, I knew Bay Cities for years of coming here. But John Buscemi, Greg Johnson, and Greg Lucci said, yo, here's the full landscape of locations that are vital to us as East Coasters that obviously have the same dietary interests as you.
Yup.
Greg Johnson goes, yo, go to East Side Deli downtown every Tuesday, Thursday. They got pasta, lasagna. And I'm like,
Fire.
all right, that sounds great. Which thank God those guys told me that, because Vito and the family from East Side Deli is like, we're like, our kids go to one another's birthday parties and shit. You know, but obviously John is a major foodie. You know, John would come to our crib or he'd invite us over, and like, you know, seeing the lengths he'd be going to prepare things that are obviously near and dear in terms of the food that we like. So when I heard that you guys were partnering on this.
Me and him were friends. I was trying to figure it out in LA. Couldn't figure it out. He had just, the shoes were booming.
Yeah.
Booming.
The Buscemi shoe brand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me and him had a conversation. It was literally over a fucking sandwich. It's cheesy. It's as cheesy as it sounds, literally over lunch. He's like, I want to work. I want to do something with you, but I don't want you to work for me. Like, I want to work with you on something, which was great. He believed in me. Like, it's my guy. Like, and he was just like, I know we got something here. Well, we got to figure, you know, and it was like literally having a fucking sandwich. And we were like, yo, he grew up in Long Island. I grew up in Queens.
How many East Coasters have probably sat down in LA and had the same, like a million Philadelphians, like, I just opened a fucking cheesesteak spot up, or like,
I don't think our vision wasn't to, you know, we wanted obviously the bacon, egg, and cheese, the Italian, you know, the all those sandwiches, but it was more of the vibe that we wanted to create in our shops was more of like, Jimmy, what's good? You see the game last night?
Yeah.
We didn't find that here. Like going to like our neighborhood delis in New York, like that kind of rapport with the customers, like the usual, and you know the oh, Rob, how's the kid doing?
Far between,
you know, not to say that it's not doesn't exist, but we kind of were like we were like being like selfish. We were like, let's open up our own spot in our own neighborhood. We were not gonna reinvent the wheel. Let's do the classics. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not gonna like be like over foodie with it, and we're not gonna get ingredients that we didn't grow up on, and we're not gonna do all these fucking fancy like whatever's trending. We're just gonna do solid, classic. Before you go to the beach, you grab a fucking a bag of sandwiches. Before you go to ball game, you go grab a sandwich, like that type of shit.
When did the name get established for it?
I think like a week after.
Before the menu or after the menu?
Oh, before the menu.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, before the menu for sure.
So concept, then name.
Yeah, I think same time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we had like some other name. We had like some other some other names, but
that's really cool though. Like, I mean, you know, in any partnership too, it's like,
well, he's like, you're gonna be the guy.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
Why are we gonna use your name?
John's like, I'm not gonna get behind the counter and make fucking. You know, I'm still selling shoes.
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna be the sweat. You're gonna be the one back there. You're gonna, you know. So, you know, I did my 10,000 hours behind the register and the counter and made sandwiches, and I did that, and I was like the guy behind the counter. You know, the first like 3-4 years.
Because going into it, I remember thinking, these guys can do it. This is going to be a hard feat to accomplish, but if anybody can do it, it's going to be these two guys.
Food is hard.
It's hard, especially when we're talking sandwiches, because the bread is such an important thing. And, you know, you hear stories, they're hauling in water from the East Coast, and they got pipelines.
I love that.
How many times you heard that?
I love that mythological tale. Some guys in a fucking rider truck driving across country with buckets of fucking water from the Bronx. Like, come on, what do you think? They got the filters now.
You got to get your meat.
They got the filters now that you could do that, you know, make the water like New York water or whatever. But
I feel like you told me a long time ago the initial bread supplier was a lady on Crenshaw. Still using her? Get out of here.
Don't tell everybody.
All right.
She's my top. She's my fucking, my ace in the.
How many years now?
8. 2017 I opened. How many years is that?
7.
7.
Yeah. It must be 8. We'll round it up.
Yeah.
Come in. Ambiance is perfect.
We pulled table bread off of a restaurant table.
No way.
And we were like, we want this.
Damn.
And we handed it to her. And she was like, I can make this. I was
Get
like,
outta
okay. She's
here.
like, this is simple. So we were eating table bread at a restaurant, famous, whatever, old school Italian. We were like, this is fire. We want this
Here. A restaurant here.
Can you throw seeds on it?
Yeah.
Boom. And she made it for us.
Get out of here.
Like literally
the bread
hot
is
bread.
important.
The bread is and you can't Google like good baker.
Yeah.
Because you get like fucking artisan, $8, $15 for a sourdough loaf, type of shit. You don't get like a fucking Cuddy baker in the middle of, mid city.
I like because it's like I like base cities, but that bread is very specific.
Mm-hmm.
I like Eastside Deli. I know where they get their bread from. That's specific. I like Roma Deli.
It's all about the bread.
It's like it's all different here. It's like I'm sure.
And you got people with focaccias, and you got people with this and that, and it's all whatever. I'm a sandwich fan at the end of the day, so I'll fuck up any kind of sandwich.
But I applauded the menu out the gate because the menu and the options was going to be, and then how it's dressed. It's like all those components are so important.
It's triple the size now.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, the actual menu.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, we got people fucking hacking the menu, adding this to that, making their own. It's great, which I love because it gives you a sense of like, you want Jimmy, we know what he wants. He wants this with the peppers and the whatever, the eggplant. So it's funny. It's like, that's kind of why I encourage that, which I'm going to actually do a video. I gotta ask some customers their fucking hacks because even my staff, when they're eating, I'm like, what is that? Yeah. And they're like, oh, eat the grilled chicken with this. I'm like, dude, the fuck, we got to put that on the menu, bro. That looks fire. Because, you don't want, you sitting, it's like, you want to switch it up. It's like, I want the usual fucking thing. I want to do my own little thing on it. Toast the bread, this, that.
Now.
Yeah. So
year one, I remember coming in with Amelia, and we'd come grab sandwiches, and you would be working
my old
the counter.
shop on Beverly.
You would be working behind the counter. You would be making sandwiches.
I was back there yesterday, handing out orders. Yeah.
How many? So you said the first year or so you're in there full time.
The first 2 years. Yeah. Me and Austin, my GM, were in there. Yeah.
What was that? What emotionally take me through with that?
I'll show you some photos and how fucking exhausted and defeated I looked.
No way.
Yeah, it was fucking right. It's, you go to school. I didn't realize, also opening up in California, Los Angeles with the city and this and that. It took us so long to get open. That was already
a board and stuff. That
was crazy.
Shit.
We took over a fucking t-shirt shop. We had to change the plumbing. We had to change that. We didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. Like now, I'm not gonna take over a location that doesn't already, do food. Yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. The first year was actually fun. It was really, it was cool. It was fun. First 2 years actually. Now that I think about it, but it was long hours. Yeah, still learning everything, still working out the kinks.
You were the first person that trusted Standard Issue to do anything. So when I first started working here with Jared, we had the sweats and everything, but really the t-shirt was the main thing. That was what always drew me to it, and it's still my favorite item that we make. But there was something very I don't know, it was so cool that you of all people and the business that you guys were starting took the risk to just throw our logos next to each other. Yeah. I thought I know it's something I always really, really appreciate and value. So even all these years later, I'm still very thankful of it. But I remember High Snobiety posting it on their Instagram. And at that point, back in that year, that was like an important thing. Like there was no schmoozing to get that. Like that was a straight organic share. And that was important to me because I was like, yo, this, obviously it's in conjunction with Paulie and the Deli, but it's like, to me, that was the total like, oh, this thing does have the legs that we thought it had to stand on,
Absolutely.
I still look through those pictures, the navy shirt, the white shirt.
Yeah. It was outside with the tablecloth. Yeah.
And and at that point, was any merch being made for the store?
Hats.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, hats and t-shirts.
The hats was the first thing.
Coming from our world, we always knew that we wanted to do, our inspiration was like, old sandwich shop merch, obviously, like, what the staff wears. Not even what they sell. Yeah. It's like what the fucking guy in the back is, the guy who don't even talk to you. Yeah. The guy who's fucking, making the mozzarella in the corner. You don't even know his name. Yeah. He's just back there, comes in at fucking 5 a.m. to make what they wear. Yeah. And then we kind of, the blue collar, tow truck, plumbing, that vibe of the, that type of, Yeah. And that's what we wanted. Just a fucking address, phone number, logo, just a classic, that kind of
Who did the original branding?
Jamal.
No way.
Shout out to Jamal. I don't know where he is, but Sky Pager. Yeah, he was the one who. Yeah, he was the one who did my logo.
Damn.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He set the tone.
He set the tone. I don't know where he is now, but he's great.
Shout out to Jamal.
Yeah.
Man.
You've met Jamal before,
yeah,
probably.
There's a Jamal.
I think he's up in the Bay, maybe somewhere. He's old freight. He's the bomb.
Every great brand has a Jamal behind it that makes that.
Yeah, he was great, and he got that logo dialed, and it was cool. Yeah,
that's sick. Yeah,
and we always had the merch was always.
That's
I mean, it didn't take off, right away, but yeah.
But that's the original shop
on Beverly.
On Beverly. Obviously, we all used to go to the juice. I mean, it's still there.
Yeah.
It's like, you get spend $100 for 3 juices, and you're like, I feel like I'm saved from whatever debauchery I did the night before.
Yeah.
The big kickoff was on the merch side. Was it Trav?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
because he was wearing it religiously, huh?
Yeah, he wore it. He lived on my block on the Deli, and he would come in all the time, and I knew him. Like, it was just like my neighbor.
He was just a regular patron.
Well, he wasn't so big yet.
Yeah,
he was big, but he's not. He's
on the way.
He's not Cactus Jack yet.
Yeah, he's not Cactus Jack.
He's not doing McDonald's commercials.
Yeah.
And he came in and fucking was getting sandwiches and grabbed a hat and grabbed a few and loved them and just fucking ended up rocking them. And then, I think he was one of the main, like, he got photographed in it a lot. But, ASAP Blue and all those guys, like, it was always a thing. Like, people were rocking them all over. I mean, Nast and, all those, all the guys in, like, so, in fashion, but not in fashion, kind of like whatever. Yeah.
And all of the organic movement just within, like look, our the usual suspects, our friends and immediate, just immediate friends within the community, like seeing all of them wearing it.
Yeah.
Companies would pay millions of dollars.
It was great.
Type of
you
shit.
couldn't,
But that was cool to see that ball rolling the way that it was.
And then that just went off from there.
Grillo's Pickles.
Yeah.
Thing. I still have the picture of Amelia and the pickle.
I have one of my staff members just was a pickle. Yeah. So that was just, we couldn't keep him on the shelf. It was crazy. Yeah. He was like on the float at the Astros World Series parade, rocking like a maroon one.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. Yeah. And then other people started rocking them, and it was
Pete
great.
Davidson next.
Not next, but like later on. Yeah. And he got that famous photo of him walking out of I forget where it was.
Because I'm trying to, I'm like, I'm going to do,
a lot of people. I got a whole, Nas and Emrata and this person and that. Like, a lot of people rocked it.
Yeah.
But it's all about like that moment. Like he was just photographed fucking with Kim Kardashian, leaving I think Giorgio Baldi. That shit was like, I mean, I think that helped. Yeah. Like, it was Kim. It was.
Are you tripping when this pops on your phone?
I'm tripping because I think I seen it like, I don't think I was the first person to see it, but somebody had sent it to me right away.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, I'm going to post it. And I posted it, and I think it broke their relationship, like that they're dating or something. I think that was what it was or something. Because I had people asking me in my DMs that, what's the deal with, like, I had TMZ hit me like, oh, what's the deal with the relationship? Like, asking, like, I know, like, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is. I'm over here like cutting salami. Yeah. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on with them. Like, but it was funny. Yeah, it went off. And that was, it was a whole other fucking, That
is too funny. Yeah, because the first thing that came up was the GQ article, and I'm like, damn,
they made a bunch of, they made a bunch of, like, they made like a New York Post article, like, Deli core. And like now it's like a subculture, which is fine. It's great. It's great. I mean, I don't know if deli core, I'd ever say that in my mouth, but it was just restaurant. It was just like a piece of swag that you got at your favorite shop that kind of ties back to a real thing. I think it translated. You know what I mean? It translated back to like an experience somebody had that they enjoyed. That it was just like a niche subculture. Like it's like it was like you're on the train in New York and you're like, oh, you've been there? Oh, I love the fucking, Paulie's my boy. That type of thing. And it just,
Let me ask you this.
Now everybody's doing merch.
Let me ask you this now, from as a kid that grew up on the East Coast, and there's no mincing words. There's no icing on the cake with the people that you grew up in and around. Yeah. When they hear you're doing a deli in LA, what are your friends busting your balls?
No.
Okay.
No, everybody was psyched. They were like, dude, that's kind of a dope idea.
Yeah.
Like none of us did it yet before. Like none of my friends really got into food. And it wasn't like I was opening up a restaurant. It wasn't like I was being like over foodie. Like I know my fucking way around this. I've ate quite a few sandwiches on the hoods of Honda Civics.
Yeah.
Like I know my fucking way around the sandwich.
I like that, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it wasn't like I was being like, I was just like, I worked in the service industry for a long time. I got a lot of people money working in the service industry, like with like marketing and helping and all that stuff. So now they all were like pretty supportive and were like, dude, fuck it. Like, yeah, that's awesome, kind of a good idea. Like, you know?
Yeah. I remember me and the only reason I asked, I remember me and Jamie did Jamie's story with Extra Market. He's like, I want to do plant-based chicken cheesesteaks. And so he partnered with Amoroso Rolls. Yep. Jamie had the plug on this really cool plant-based company from Japan. And I remember so many of my friends busting my balls like, this guy's in Hollywood making fucking vegan. I mean, they kept going on vegan chicken. They were fired too, yo. And then not knowing that that's Jamie. Jamie is a true Yorker through and through. It's like
he just called me.
You know, it's like I'll get out of here.
Yeah.
And it's like not knowing Jamie's whole thing is all plant-based. It was funny though, man. I was getting sliced and diced.
I think if I would have said like I was a chef or some bullshit like that, I would have been like, I would have been. But I didn't come out the gate like being like I'm a chef. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not a fucking chef. No. Like I know my way around a fucking barbecue. I make some pasta, whatever. I'm not like a chefy. Like my wife does the cooking at the crib. She cooks healthy for the Like I'm not gonna front. Like I know but I know like I don't. Yeah, I mean, making sandwiches and like, it's not rocket science. It's all about ratio. It's all about the bread. It's all about the good quality ingredients, cold cuts, and I know what works and people like, and that's it, really. And I knew what I grew up on, and it's like I don't want to read. Like I didn't want to like, maybe I'll add a twist to this, a twist to there, or do this or that. But it's like I just want to just do the staples, the classics, and I kept it authentic, and I show love to all the people that and I show love to all sandwich shops. I don't, it's not like I'm out here trying to, So it's like it's dope, and no, I didn't get any fucking heat from anybody. My friends still bust they'll still bust my balls. The only reason
that's I like that comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying?
They'll still figure out something to fucking find. But no,
I remember I went to get something on there, and I was like, "Oh, Paulie gonna charge me for this right now?" So that's 2017. You launch. Your cruise and we go into COVID, and that's when you had the fire at the first spot.
COVID happened.
Or no, because I remember hitting there in the middle of COVID.
COVID was ill. COVID was ill. Yeah, cut that. That's the clip that you want to cut. COVID was ill. COVID was good for me.
You guys were one of the only shops open. It seemed like they were open.
Yeah, we were open.
Street, yo. It was like fucking.
We were selling toilet paper.
Dude, it was like Night of Living Dead out there, and then Uncle Paulie's just this shining light. Like, the only business still going.
We were selling all-purpose flour for everybody. Fucking bacon banana bread. We had everything. Yeah, coffee.
No way.
Yeah, it looked like New Jack City in there. We were bagging up fucking flour. It was fucking it was crazy.
Dude, I remember we went to the beach one day.
It was like one of my busiest years, honestly.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't like a bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a bad year. It was like we were fucking busy. Like we were on the apps, COVID out with the mask, the glass, the whole thing. Handed bags to fucking, DoorDash drivers.
Just living through apocalypse.
It was crazy. Yeah, I was at the shop every day. We didn't close.
So business was actually good.
Business was good because we were like, sandwiches are a deliverable product.
Yeah.
They sit well when you deliver them. If you don't, soak them.
People needed to eat too.
And it's like everybody's home. Everybody's working from home. It was great.
So when
and then I had the fire not too long after.
What year was that?
The fire was probably 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. 3 years ago.
Walk us through what that was like.
It was my birthday. Dude, it was my birthday's in 2 days. It was literally the day of my birthday. I woke up in the morning. I got a phone call. My shop lit up. It was like some rat, I don't know. They really still couldn't figure out. My landlord next door was doing some fugazi fucking electrical work. I don't know exactly what happened, but it wasn't so bad. It got smoked out. It was pretty bad, like the closet and everything. But the smell and, when you get a fire, to get back open, you got to go through so many testing.
Yeah.
And like a nightmare. It's like asbestos and you'll never get that smell out of the place.
Yeah.
The soot, it was gross, Closed 2 months. the spot on 3rd Street was available. The landlord knew me from the shop up the block. It was only it's like 7 blocks away. He was like, yeah, you want to move in here? Insurance company was like, go. Like, go, yeah, like, go get open. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? I outgrew that space, kind of.
Yeah.
It had a full hood at the new space. I could do whatever I wanted. You know, chicken cutlets, bacon, with eggs. I had a griddle. It was great. I was like, okay, the game changer.
So now you can make things that you couldn't make at the other spot.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay.
And easier. You know, and just popped in there. And then at the time, I was still opening up Studio City. I had Studio City in the works.
Okay.
But during that was COVID and trying to get, you know, getting like inspection and all that shit was like took forever. So I ended up opening 3rd Street and Studio City like kind of back to back.
Was it like was there any heartbreak or heartache for you? Knowing that's your baby shop, like that's
a little bit, but my landlord was fucking so awful that I was like, it's a blessing.
Okay.
Yeah, she wasn't a nice person. Yeah.
The new space is not new now, but the 3rd Street space is beautiful.
It's great. It's great. That's my, I have my office in the back. The car wash is right there, so people like can leave their car for an hour, come get a sub. You got Sweet Green next door, so the boyfriend who doesn't want a salad could come in with the chick. And boom, boom, boom. She gets a salad, I get a sandwich, and
that's cool.
So it's dope, and you get coffee next door. It's great.
Yeah,
it's a great little location. Parking,
like the vibe in there.
Yeah, 3rd Street's great.
It is a very, very
good block.
Special thing that you guys got going on over there.
So we rose from the ashes like a phoenix.
Yes, yeah. So moved to the next spot. Now Studio City's popping, which I've muscled through Studio City traffic that I would kill you over to go get a sandwich. Just one time I'm like, yo, I'm fucking
But great neighborhood, families, kids soccer team, young moms and dads who scramble. It's great. It's awesome on the weekends. It's great.
When does the idea come into your guys' head? We're going to go to Vegas.
Was in the works for a while. I think I knew Tall. He was working with the Fertitas, were legends. They had the Palms, they had the Station Casinos, they had a bunch of shit. They had the UFC.
I was going to say, the UFC partners as well.
We're in talks. There was a few sandwich shops that were in their locations. They had leases. They couldn't, they couldn't put us in there. And they were like, yo, I always kind of kept in contact with them, always were friendly. I think when they came to town, they came to the shop. Frank and Lorenzo, Tall, I've always been in contact with, great dude. So I was like, he always came to, he's from LA, he's from Agora. And they were like, we're opening up a new casino. We'd love to put you in there. I'm like, who else is going to be in it? They were like, oh, Prince Street. Herbs, Mark Vetri from Philly, legend. The guy's the fucking king.
Yeah.
Homeboy, Iapono from down Orange County, but also Hawaiian dude, like does the Hawaiian street food. So I was like, yo, let's go. And then we opened up in Durango. I'm going there tomorrow.
No way.
Yeah.
Perfect night out, next day food.
I mean, it's great. It's like also you're at the sports book.
Yeah.
Watching the grab a sandwich, like whatever. So it's great. It's just it's been awesome. They've been great.
How long has that been open for now?
6th December, like 7 months.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's been great.
That's amazing, yo. Yeah,
different kind of monster, because it's like, sure, there's like a little bit of a lunch rush, but it's like there's a game on tonight. Boom. Like we're busy. There's the fucking, Final Four, busy. UFC, busy. So it's like a different kind of.
What are the hours like at that one?
9 to 9, 9 to 11. All right. Yeah, on the weekends.
Got to stay open a little bit later, huh?
Yeah.
I got to imagine 2, 3 a.m.
I thought.
You would crush it too, huh?
Yeah, I thought of like the 6 a.m., the 4 a.m. bacon, egg, and cheeses and stuff. But no, we'll see. Right. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So, like I said, this is the season finale of this. I know when we were trying to first coordinate this, you tell me you're like, yo, Jimmy, I can't make it out. I'm in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you in Chicago for? And you're like, I'm filming for The Bear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you like?
Well, I didn't tell you that exactly, but I had to tell you after.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm like, what is this guy like?
I had to lie for.
Like, is he like a sandwich specialist on the show or something? Like,
sort of, technically, kind of. Yeah. If you want to get into the role.
So. And I'm like, I'm proud of you, because I'm like, man, this guy, I watch you launch this business, establish it, thrive as a father. I'm watching you and your family grow, your beautiful daughter. You got an amazing wife, and I'm like, now this guy's on like the biggest television show. And I'm like, and I was like, how the hell? I was like, I can't wait to talk to Paulie to get how this whole thing came about.
Chris Storer was a friend of mine, came to the Deli, lives by, Chris was just my guy. Maddie's also my dude that I knew for a long time. Called me and was just like, we always joked. I'm like, yeah, you got to put me in the show. You got to put me in the show. It's like, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it'd be funny. It's like a DoorDash.
Maddie's a writer on it too?
He's the executive producer, yeah. Courtney, I've known.
No way.
Courtney, I've also known for a long time from John and Vinny's. She worked at John and Vinny's.
Yeah.
I knew her from there. She has her own thing right now. And Italian Ices, Coco's to Go. Shout out to Courtney and CJ. Thinking I was going to have like a walk-on background, like role, whatever. Chris was like, I actually hit him up. I was like, yo, congratulations on the Emmys, whatever. I called it. I knew that he was going to fucking clean up. I mean, I watched that Christmas episode, The Seven Fishes.
Oh, that's the greatest, one of the greatest pieces of television.
Like,
it's going to go down.
Yeah. I mean, it's got 23 Emmys. I mean, was like, Paulie, funny enough, I'm writing you in the show, da-da-da. I'm like, dope. I'm like, cool. I ended up getting a phone call. I'm getting an email from Cassie, and they were like,
when he says that, what are you
I think that I'm going to have a little role.
Yeah. Like a
background, some doop, in the bedroom. Oh, that's Paulie.
Yeah.
Then he calls me and was just like, then they say, reach out to me and they show me like when the dates. I'm like, why do I got to be fucking in Chicago this long?
How long?
Kinda. It was, we go back and forth,
Yeah.
He was like, I'm like, dude, I'm not an actor. He was like, dude, don't fucking worry about it. Just get here. You got it.
Just
be yourself.
No, like, yo, I'm gonna put you in this thing. I'm gonna book you some acting classes. Get with this.
Nothing. Learn the lines, kinda. Like learn the scenario of like, sure, I had to say the lines, but it was like more of just like learn, what the scenario is. It's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be working basically I worked at the shop back in the day in the show with Bernthal.
Yeah.
Before he dies. We were the guys that ran the shop.
Yeah.
New restaurant opens. They open up the sandwich window, kind of pay homage to the brother and kind of keep the neighborhood guys happy. Struggling. Call Chucky and Chi-Chi. I'm Chucky. Chi-Chi's Chris, who owns Mr. Beef in Chicago. Yeah. Two real sandwich guys. And we come in, we're like, yo, you're doing this all wrong. We come in and we kind of like set the tone and we're like, yo, this is what you got to do. This is how
no mayo.
Yeah.
No mayo.
Yeah. That was actually that was a real story that I had told Chris.
Oh, no way.
Off the back lot. Like we were like having a smoke or something. We were talking or whatever. And we were like, or coffee. And he was like, I'm like, like I have like a customer come in with like, wants a meatball parm with mayo on it. I'm like, dude, what are you fucking out of your mind? Like, yo, here's the meatball parm. Here's the mayo. Go home, fuck the sandwich up yourself. I'm not gonna be responsible for you, fucking. And then he was like, yo, say that. And it was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been fun.
Yeah, I just was tripping. I'm like, how does this whole thing come?
People trip. Yeah, because I had to lie to people, telling them why I was in Chicago. Like I only told a few people.
Yeah.
People were like, where are you? You guys were working. Like my partner knew, obviously, whatever, John. But it was fun. It's great. Yeah.
When the show finally, when the episodes air, or the season airs, and they obviously share all of the episodes. Like what's that? Take me through what that's like for you and your family, because that has to feel.
It's just fun. It's like it's a relief that it looks good. It came out sick.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. It was like I was just like I didn't see any like.
Oh, you didn't see no edits or anything.
I got like a week before, but like up till then, I didn't even see myself on camera. I didn't even know what I looked like. Like Courtney snapped a photo of what I looked like on the cameras and sent it to me. Like I didn't even know I don't know what, we did a lot of, fun shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they kept, what they didn't. So it was dope to see it like edited and dope, like it was great.
That's your first
Nothing's
time?
changed. I'm fucking.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not like in the supermarket taking photos.
That's your first time being in a setup like that, where they're adjusting angles and you're doing different takes and everything. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was
that's
fun.
A pressure cooker to be under, man.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked on television for 4 or 5 years, and it's like, I mean, a lot of those people have trained their whole lives to do that, and I understand why. It's like,
I think he just wanted some authenticity. He wanted like just regular. Chris isn't an actor. I mean, he is now. you know, but like he worked at Mr. Beef. He grew up with Chris, Chris and Chris, Chris Zucchero, who owns Mr. Beef. You know, I guess, he's seen something. Chris seen something in us, you know, the charisma, whatever.
That's cool.
And he was just like, he's a fucking genius, dude. Like clearly, like look at what, you know.
Man, yeah, that one specific scene. I remember reading somewhere that they kept holding the shots so that each of the actors, you could see the irritation in them growing and growing and mounting and I when you watch that scene at the dinner, it translated completely. They all
that episode's crazy,
irritated and mad, and it made.
I mean, that's like my, you know, somebody's like, I was too much yelling. I'm like, maybe for you, but that's kind of what the Christmas Eve looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, boxes of wine, a lot of Chardonnay, you know, a lot of Jameson.
People tanked.
I mean, I get it. Like,
the two of your cousins fucked up the holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
So. That's amazing. So that comes out. It was awesome to see the response that so many of your friends and family obviously
people
paid to it. You guys on the way here, Tyler, you know, Tyler that produces this for us was like, oh yeah, I drove past last week when they was a lineup out there. And I was like,
we did a pop up
from the show.
As soon as I talked to Chris, as soon as I met Chris
or not from the show. I'm sorry, that was with Chris.
As soon as I met Zucchero in Chicago, we hit it off, you know, we're neighborhood guys, whatever. We just had a great rapport. I said, Chris, you got to come to LA. We got to do something. It'd be great to have you. You know, there's nothing like you guys, what you guys have. Chicago, the dip sandwiches, whatever. Italian beef sandwiches. We wrap. I call Courtney. I said, Courtney, I want to do something with Chris. She's like, done. Let's do it, all three of us together. We do it. We get it going. We fly Chris out. We ended up, you know, making, you know, the sandwiches. The cast ended up coming. I mean, it was crazy, bro. Jeremy was back there making sandwiches. Chris, the creator, was on Expo for 4 hours. You know, dude's like, you know, nominated for fucking Emmy. He's back there.
How many days of prep went into making all them goddamn sandwiches?
We made the sandwiches on site. We made the sandwiches on site, but we made the beef probably like 2 days before.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process.
Yeah,
Chris is a fucking mad scientist.
Because we'll do it at our crib, and it's like, yo, that beef is sitting in the crock pot from 7 a.m. till, you know.
I'll ask Chris. I'm like, Chris, how much longer he got? He's like, I got it. Like, like he knows in his head. Like, I'm like, how much? Like an hour and a half? He's like, no, I got it. Like he knows. Like, you know. So it was. I didn't know the process of cooking that stuff in the day before and slicing it and putting it in the jus and the whole thing. It was crazy. But it was fire. People loved it. It was great.
Ran out.
Yeah, just by the skin of my. Well, you ran out day one. It was crazy. Yeah, I mean, we didn't know that. You know.
Yeah.
We didn't know that fucking that many people were going to show up.
That's awesome.
We had no idea. But some press got a hold of it, and so did. You know, we just promoted it on social medias, and then like some website, you know, some foodie Instagrams. They used them to show the name of the show. It was just so.
That's sick, yo.
It was great.
That God, I mean, that brings us to like right now. I mean, that was literally
last weekend.
Yeah,
I'm sad. It's over. Yeah. I actually texted them. Anybody else sad?
Oh no.
Yeah, because we had so much fun together. It was just it was such a breaking up the irregular weekends and the monotony of our everyday work life, and we did something fun.
A lot of Chicago. This is what I wanted to ask you. A lot of Chicago transplants come.
Yeah, quite a few. I mean, everybody. Boston, Chicago, Philly, New Jersey. Yeah. Oh, it was just at the event.
At your spot.
In general or that day?
That day.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. But also just in general.
There's so many Chicago people here, man.
Yeah, Midwest. Miami. I get all types of fucking,
Man. Well, that's the thing is like it checks the boxes like your spot. South Philly experience on Pico. They have fire cheesesteaks there. It's like those are.
I've had it.
Those are the places that obviously, like for us East Coasters, it's like when you're longing for home, and food is obviously a major component. So it's like to check that box to just, you know, smash a sandwich and then you're good for.
Yep.
I mean, I could eat sandwiches still till this fucking day, every day. So.
Me too. I'm gonna have one right now. Yeah.
You got to roll though to the shop.
I do got to roll to the shop. But we could close it.
No, that was perfect, yo. Honestly, thank you so much. Thank you for fucking with us from day one.
Of course.
Thank you for finding the time out of your schedule to do this. Congrats on everything.
I don't do these too often. Nah, it's nice.
I say we're
it's
all
fun to
so
talk some
psyched
shit
for you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Devin's psyched for you. Emilia's psyched for you. Jared, everyone. So We wish you continued success.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.
You got a great head on your shoulder.
I gotta go grab a t-shirt.
So. Yes, let's go do it right now. So
my guy.
My man, thank you. So I appreciate it, Paulie.